Thank you once again and welcome. Please, I would like to confirm that you can hear me loud and clear. Please, if you can hear me loud and clear, kindly type 1 in the chat room. If you can hear me loud and clear, please kindly type 1 in the chat room. All right. Thank you so much. So let's quickly help those in the chat room. Let's remind them that the class has started so that all of us can be on the same page. For those in the chat room, can we remind them that class has started? Oh, God. All right. Okay, please kindly give me an extra 2 minutes and I will take my slides up from there. Just 2 minutes. People is about managing people that have value. Human resources is about managing people that have value for the purpose of achieving stated goals or set goals and objectives. All right. So we are going to be going through this course and then we are going to be learning how to manage people of value. First of all, how do you identify people of value? How do you acquire people of value? And then how do you manage these people for them to produce results for you? All right. So that's what we're going to be learning all through this class. Now for the HR essential, we are going to be stopping at the skills of a HR professional, the skills of a HR professional. And then in my subsequent classes, I will be taking others gradually. Okay, I'm taking others gradually. Now by introduction, if you look at these questions here, these are questions that are paramount in our workplaces. You say, whom do you send your resume to when you see a job opening that interests you? Can you help us provide the answers in the chat room? Whom do you send your resume to if you see a job that interests you? Who do you send it to? Let's have your response in the chat room. Who gives you the job offer and discuss your pay packages with you? Who endorses you into the organization when you are a new employee? Whom do you contact when you have any doubts regarding your pay package, perks, benefits, conveyance, leave management, and so on? Who helps you in the final exit formalities when you leave an organization? Who take care of your training and development needs? Now, if there is any of these questions that have different answers, just provide accordingly. Or if they have the same answers, kindly let us know. So from the chat room, we see the HR team, HR manager, training and development. Okay, that's wonderful. Okay, so basically everything we are saying from the chat room borders around the human resource department. Okay, the human resource department. By the time we go into this course, we'll find out that HR is broken down into different dimensions. But in some bigger organizations, you have director of human resources. Then under director of human resources, you have different departments on that. So we're going to look at them as we proceed. Okay, but importantly, we must realize that the sole responsibility or the persons whose sole responsibility is to achieve all of these things we've mentioned is the human resource department, the department responsible for that. Okay, whether you call it career and skills, training and development, organizational development, human resource planning, pension, and whatsoever, it is just within the HR department. Okay. Now, by introduction, you must have guessed right or guessed correctly. It is the human resource managers and people from the human resource department who take care of you right from the time when you apply to a company, you get the job, you join the company, you're working with the company till the time you leave the company. Hence, in your entire life cycle of involvement with the company, the HR always stands by you and supports you during your tenure with the company. Hence, HR managers are also known as people enablers, and the practice as human resource or people management. Okay, so in some cases you hear people managers, in some cases you hear human resource managers. Okay, but there is something else that we talk about. We talk about administrators, and then we talk about personnel managers. There are just thin line of differences among HR practitioners and administrators, all right, or personnel managers, just a thin line of difference. And when we get there, we'll be able to pick that up, okay? Human resource management is an important function of any organization. And one thing about this is that it's not just a function, it's a compilation of functions, critical functions. In fact, I would say that HR functions are core to organizational continuity and sustainability. What will determine succession within organizations, growth and development within organizations, is their HR plans and policies, their HR strategies. So if we don't take HR to be critical and handle it critically, then we might have some issues with the organization. So it encompasses the management of people in organizations from a macro perspective, that's managing people in the form of collective relationships between management and employees. Now, in some cases, you hear things like managers shouldn't micromanage people. Micromanaging people simply means that you're removing their ability to see, their ability to use their own initiatives. You just have them under instructions and control. That's micromanaging. But when we talk about macromanaging, you are placing relationship first before goals. How do I mean? You are exposing people to have more trust and confidence in what they are coming to do, rather than the pay they are coming to take. So human resource management leverages more on relationship, unlike personnel management or administrative management that leverages more on the paychecks. Okay, I guess you're understanding these two things. Now, if we were to talk about personnel management or administrative management, we say when people you fire them. But in human resource management, we consider the point of relationship. Before we fire, we try to take you through the principle of natural justice. Okay, before we talk about any other thing. All right, so HR focuses more on relationship building. And the essence of the relationship building is building trust, building confidence, building competence, building the boldness, raising leaders that can easily take over within organizations for the purpose of ensuring continuity and sustainability at good profitable gains. Every stakeholder involved should have value for the business they're investing in. All right, thus, the HR function is concerned with the notion of people enabling, people development, and they focus on making the employment relationship fulfilling for both the management and the employees. So that's what HR essentially is focusing on. All right, so let's look at what we are going to be dealing with in detail. Remember, I'm only going to introduce this course, all right? And then since we've taken a whole lot of time in going through questions and the induction exercise, we might have to take only one class today, then tomorrow we'll take the HR operations. and they will find a way to balance up the schedule. Okay, so let's look at what HRM is all about. Now, first of all, we need to understand that human resource management is an art and science. Then another thing we need to understand that human resource management is both the art of managing people by recourse to creative and innovative approaches. So the essence of managing people is to get them to be creative, to get them to be innovative. Okay, get them to be productive, get them to be creative, get them to be innovative. And we do this using creative and innovative approaches as well. Now that practice of managing people in this like, or in this dimension is considered as an art, all right? Now it is a science as well because the precision and rigorous application of theory that is required. Now in level 1, we don't really talk much about theories. We don't really talk about science that much. But by the time we get to level 2, we talk about so much theories, so many theories, because these theories are the things that help us understand human beings better. And with those understanding, we can be able to create applications, or we can be able to make applications that can help us get the best of the people we are managing. And also those theories will help us know which of the best IT tools, IT applications we're going to use. Now, I will not tell you that by the end of this class, you will not have anything to do with statistics and mathematics. You have something to do with statistics and mathematics, but the only confidence or assurance I will give you is that it's not something that will bore you, all right? Mathematics is not as difficult as they taught us in school. It's actually something very simple. Now, whether you're doing recruitment, whether you're doing performance appraisal, whether you're doing exit strategies or exit interview, whichever aspect of HR you're going into, there is an element of science in it. There is an element of mathematics in it. There is an element of data analysis in it. In fact, if I would recommend, I would say after you're done with your HR course, then go deep into the skill side. One of the major areas of interest now is the area of HR analytics. Please note, it's not HR analysis, HR analytics. The use of technological tools in understanding data that will help us in making business-related HR decisions. You get what I'm trying to say, right? So when we talk about it as a science, we use these tools to help us make precisions. How many people do we need for this kind of job? How many hours does he or she need to work? Do we just need to do a copy and paste for our organization because others are doing it, then we need to do it? No. If we want to be different, then we must get to have a better approach or have better approaches to managing people. How many of us have noticed that in recent time, the future of job that we've been talking about long time ago, it has gradually started gaining prominence in the workplace today. So we talk about remote working today. So if you've heard of remote working, can you type 11 in the chat room? If you've heard of remote working, can you type 11 in the chat room? If you've heard of online working or internet working, type 11. If you've heard of work from home, type 11. Now, if you currently work from home or you do remote working, all right? Now type 22. If you're currently engaging in remote working or remote learning or digital learning, type 22. Okay, so you see, that's to tell you that science is gradually taking the place in HR. It is science and technology that is making it possible now for us to do. Of course, you know that this part of thing we are doing now, this thing we are doing now is part of learning and development, which is now done digitally. There was a time all around the world that if you ever presented a digital certificate, they would say you never did anything. Okay, but now it has become common. The university system is now using it. The professional system is using it. Industry system is using it. Organizations are using it. Individuals are using it. what has changed? The future of work has come. So what helped us to be able to adjust is because we were able to make good use of science and technology. Okay, we're able to make good use of science and technology. So anytime you hear of the word mathematics, statistics, analysis, don't frown your face and say, I hate mathematics. You can't hate mathematics, just like it, because every air you breathe in is mathematics. Okay. All right. Someone is saying that he can't hear or she can't hear. I don't really know whether it's a he or she. Please, Saliu Lei, kindly disconnect and reconnect. Okay, kindly disconnect and reconnect. Maybe your network is having an issue. Okay. All right. So this is just a little of what we need to put in our mind about HR. In fact, I tell people that one of the emergent areas, one of the major trending areas that a whole lot of professions will come out from, a whole lot of dependency will lie on for business sustainability, for business growth, is human resource management. So irrespective of your primary domain of discipline, it is important that you add HR competencies to your profile. Now, I'm not just saying HR competencies as certificate. No, I'm talking about HR competency on the basis of practice. There is no way robotics will become 100% in organizations. We still need people who will manage those robotics. We still need people who will design the jobs that those robotics will program to do. We still need people who will have some sort of time to look at the report that those robotics will bring. So there is no way we can eliminate human interference when it comes to business sustainability and business continuance. Okay, so that is very, very important. Okay, that is very, very important. All right. Now let's quickly proceed. Now, one thing I try to do in my learnings is that I try to encourage people to learn by seeing what I'm saying, not just by hearing what I'm saying, but by seeing what I'm saying. Because by the time you make objects of what I'm explaining, it gets easier for you to understand what I'm saying. And also remember, we are much more interested in the practice side of this thing we are doing. Okay, we are much more interested in the practice, the application side of it. So we must therefore pay attention in understanding all of this through visualizations, imaginations. And if in your imagination you think there is something you need to help you imagine more so that you can understand the whole concept, build the whole concept together, and then you ask your questions and then we go ahead with it. HRM is all about people in organizations. No wonder that some multinationals call the HR managers people enablers, people managers, and the practice as people management. In the 21st century organizations, the HR manager or the people manager is no longer seen as someone who takes care of the activities described in traditional way. Okay, what's the traditional way of HR? Can someone help us? The traditional things we consider in HR. Can someone help us? If you wish to give a voice, you can just raise your voice, raise your hand, and then we'll unmute. What are the traditional functions of HR? The traditional functions of HR. Okay, someone's hand is up. Please kindly unmute and let's hear from you. Amadu Njie. Please kindly unmute and let's hear from you. Okay, his hand is out. So what are those traditional things in HR? If I see yours in the chat room, I'll read it. Can someone help? If you are, okay, so someone said recruitment and selection, thank you. So someone said recruitment again, thank you. What other thing? What other thing? What other thing? Recruitment, personnel welfare, thank you. Which other thing? Record keeping, thank you. Administration, thank you. Conflict management, recruitment. Okay, so these are some of the traditional things that have been done in HR. Okay, So I was sacking people. Okay. Thank you. Developing work schedule, training, payroll administration and management, and recruitment and administration, compensation and benefit administration, discipline. So these are some of the things traditionally we consider as the traditional things of HR. Okay, now let's ask question. Now listen, this whole thing we just mentioned, they are the core functions of HR. Nothing has really changed. The only thing that changed is the innovation towards handling them. Now let's take recruitment and selection as a case study now. What are the 21st century approaches for recruitment and selection? Can someone help us? What are the 21st century approaches? Perhaps the one you use in your organization, the one you see out there, the ones you've experienced on the trends, HR trends. What are the 21st century approaches? Let's restrict to recruitment and selection as a core function of HR. How was it done before? How is it done now? How was selection and recruitment done before, or recruitment and selection rather? How was it done before? Then how is it done now? What are the innovations coming in right now? All right, Engineer Shaibu, good to hear from you. Kindly unmute and let's hear from you.
Training and development, sir.
Sorry, sir.
It's one of the innovations in HR management. Learning and development.
Okay, all right. Thank you so much, sir, for that. Let me see what I have in the chat room. I love this class. Someone says, okay, AI personality test. Another person says skills evaluation. Another person says automated tracking system for online applicants. All right, so if you compare what we do before, you have staffing training. Okay, thank you. You just mentioning the core function. Emotional intelligence, personality traits, and motivational values. Thank you. Recruitment, newspaper ads. Okay, so before we used to do newspaper ads, radio ads, jingles, and all of that. Although some people still do it, but most companies are reducing costs today with online adverts. A whole lot of companies are using online ads. As of 2017, we had this consulting firm we call Bluebird. Bluebird Consulting is a HR consulting firm. They did a research on recruitment, traditional versus 21st century recruitment, and they found out that 89% of recruitment that was done as of 2017 was done through social media. About 89%. That's as of 2017. Now, in recent time, we cannot agree less that almost 95% and more of today's advert or recruitment approaches start with social media, Facebook, Twitter, LinkedIn. People don't want to spend money again. Organizations don't want to spend money. And then another thing is that there is a 100% automation of the whole process. Okay, some organizations like Shell, some organizations like Chevron, some of them are having 100% automated recruitment process, such that you can have your recruitment from start to finish without seeing anybody. Okay, so you apply, the system follows you up, and then till you get to the point of having your offer letter. And there is no bias, human interference or bias in the recruitment process. So you won't say they were doing bias or what have you. Okay. And then we also talk about things like talent hunt. Yes, somebody mentioned that. Talent hunt. Okay, so someone says talent hunt and poaching in recruitment. So they now actually head hunt people with values they are actually looking for. All right, so there are so many things going on in the whole recruitment process. All right, in the whole recruitment process. And now we have IT firms building softwares, building apps for those organizations who are into recruitment. And some organizations, while they are doing outsourcing, some are fully automating their system by reducing the cost of consulting. Okay, all right. Now, in fact, most organizations have different departments dealing with staffing, payroll, and retention. These are also one of the 21st century things that have been done in the HR department. There have been absolute segregation of the units or the core functions in HR. I went to a particular ministry the other day. This ministry was sitting on a particular floor, and then this ministry had a whole building to itself. Then on a particular floor, more than 20 rooms, if not more, were dedicated to different units of the HR. So here we see director of career management, here director of skills development, director of training and development, director of talent acquisition, director. I would just see different director of payrolls administration, director of organizational design and development. So different. What they've done is that they have segregated the HR functions so that it will be easier for manageability. Okay, it will be easy to manage. All right. Okay, so instead, the HR manager is responsible for managing people, employee expectations, vis-a-vis the management objectives and reconciling both to ensure employee fulfillment and realization of management objectives. So one of the core functions of HR now has become to serve as an intermediary, meeting the objectives of both the employer and the employee, ensuring that there is a good relationship, sustainable relationship between these two parties. All right. Now, like I said earlier, in defining HR, there are two perspectives to defining HR. We have the traditional perspective, which we consider as the personnel administration or personnel management. Then we have the contemporary definition, which we now correlate to human resource management in present time. All right. Now, quickly, on the traditional definition, the first definition of HRM is that it is the process of managing people in organizations in a structured and thorough manner. This covers the fields of staffing, hiring people, retention of people, pay and tax setting and management, performance management, change management, and taking care of exits from the company to round off the activities. This is the traditional definition of HRM, which leads some experts to define it as a modern version of personnel management function that was earlier used. So we don't really see a difference between the traditional definition of HRM and the personnel management. Then we have the contemporary definition, which encompasses the management of people in organizations from a macro perspective. And when we say macro perspective, what do we really mean? Macro perspective in this case simply means managing people in the form of a collective relationship between management and employees. These days, we hear things like organizations selling shares to their staff. What are they trying to do? They are trying to create stability. They are trying to create relationship stability. Okay. I was going through a documentary of a particular company that made mention, a staff there made mention that she had been in that company for 48 years. And another staff said she had been in that company for 45 years. And then another one had been in that company for 43 years. These people are all alive and still working. The company is not in Africa anyway. Okay, so what could have kept people that long? When you manage them on the basis of creating better relationships with benefits, then people are willing to stay. Okay, people are willing to have much more reference with your organization. Now, this approach focuses on the objectives and the outcomes of the HRM function. Now, the objectives, remember, in this case, we are looking at two objectives, management objectives and individual objectives. So the HRM functions try to create benefits for both the employer and the employee. What I'm going to say now is just a side statement, but I think it will help. Let me ask, how many of us here in our organization will practice pension? You take care of pension. If you do, type 55. If you don't, in your current organization, type 00. Your organization currently does pension. Type 55. If it does not, type 00. Okay, so I'm seeing 55 and I'm seeing 00, 55 and 00. Now, I would like to say something here. Now, for those of us that are currently in an organization where the ones that are doing PenCom, all right, how many years have you spent so far in that company? And if you type 00, so if you type 55, you will then put comma and put the number of years you've spent. If your own is not doing pension, type 00 and then put the number of years you spent. Let's see. Let's just do a simple experiment. If your organization does pension, like for those people doing 55, just write 55 and then hyphen or space the number of years you spent, all right? And then for those of us that are not doing pension, just type 00 and then hyphen the number of years you spent. Okay. So I have 0015 years. First of all, I have 553 years, 0015 years, 553 years, 003 years. Okay, 5515 years again. 5517 years. Now, by the end of this whole experience anyway, you'll find out that those who have pension, companies that have pension as part of staff benefit, staff tend to stay longer there than for those who don't have pension. Now, let me give you another clue. If you have, let's assume you have a company where you have two companies, for instance. Let's say company A and company B. Company A doesn't do pension, and they are paying $55,000. So that could be somebody's next salary. And then company B does $35,000, but with pension, maybe pension and other allowances, right? Maybe health allowance or health insurance, and then they have training and development allowance and all of that. You will find out that some of those people that are even collecting $55,000 without benefit, if there is opportunity to move to B that is paying $35,000 but with future benefit, they will migrate. That is just what we have in most of the countries of the world. People will tell you that government job is secured. There is actually nothing secured about government job. They're only telling you that there is much benefits there. So I may be collecting 20,000 or I may be collecting $2,000 in a month, but out of that $2,000, if I want to buy a car, I can get an allowance. I can get access to privileges that can allow me get a car. If I want to build a house, I can get privileges that will allow me build a house. If I want to pay children's school fees, I can have privileges. My children are sick, I have privileges that I can take them to the hospital and nobody will charge me. Those are the securities they're talking about. And those securities are what we are calling benefits. And then in this whole HR perspective, for us to micromanage people, we need to make sure that they have full benefits so that they can also in return give us full benefit in achieving management objectives. Okay, so these are some of the things that the current HR is trying to take. Now, I was saying something. I had a discussion with someone who works in a private school, and then the school pays him about $200 in a month. If you convert the money, it's about $200 in a month, $200 to $250 in a month. And then I was like, wow, you're doing well. So why don't you want to get a government job? And he said, if he gets a government job, he will still start with 75,000 naira in a month. And the same benefits he's getting from the school, he will still get it from here. I like, what benefits? I said, okay, in their school they do, they're initiating pension, and there are other benefits associated with them. Okay, and the person is willing to stay in a private school because of benefits. All right, not minding if there is a government or government job opportunity, so to say. So when there is maximum benefit for all stakeholders involved, That's both for the employer and the employee. People are willing to stay. So you have low turnover and low attrition, low employee turnover and attrition. And that will help you in having continuity and sustainability. In fact, it makes your succession planning an effective one. All right, that's very, very important. All right. Now, what this means is that the HR function in contemporary organizations is concerned with the notion of people enabling, people development, and the focus on making the employment relationship fulfilling for both the management and the employees. Now, before I proceed, do I have any question? Do I have anything you would like me to explain? Okay. If there is no question, then let me quickly proceed. Now, what's the importance of HRM for organizational success? Okay, so someone said she has a question. Okay, so please, Favor, can you ask your question? Do you want to ask your question in the chat room, or you will want to ask the question via the I would love you to throw more light on traditional and contemporary perspective. Okay. So let me go to, I don't know whether you're Nigerian. Let me go to Power Holding and get some light so that I can throw it on you now. All right, so the traditional perspective in, okay, you're in Nigeria, so that makes it easier. So both of us will go to Power Holding and get some light so that we can throw it together. Now, in contemporary perspective, people are considered as tools. People are managed as tools, working tool. So it's not more of a relationship. Relationship is not the thing we are looking at there. People are micromanaged. In organizations that work traditionally, it's all about policies, strict policies that does not allow flexibility and dynamism. It does not encourage innovations and creativity. So people are micromanaged. You follow instructions, you follow orders. All right. But now we have the modern system. People are, the management is much more on creating fulfilling relationship. So people are given the opportunities to innovate. People are given the opportunities to create. People are given the opportunity to self-manage themselves. Teams are given the opportunity to self-manage themselves or self-organize themselves. We have autonomous work systems. We have decentralized work structures or work patterns. Okay, and that's what you see. There's what we call agile systems of management, agile systems of management. The contemporary HR system or HR structure or HR practice advocates for more of the agile system of management, where we have autonomous work systems, self-organizing teams, people self-managing themselves, remote working, digital work systems, and all of that. That's contemporary times. But for traditional times, it's more of this is what you're supposed to do. Don't go out from it. Don't do beyond this. So they give you a scope. You're not expected to expand beyond that. But in an agile system, you're given a scope, but you're expected that within that scope is not bounding in such a way that you cannot think beyond getting other valuable results. Okay, so Favor, do you understand that a little? So one basically treats the people as tools. That's the traditional system, and people are micromanaged. It's all about following orders, following instructions, and all of that. Does not really support creativity and innovation. While the other side of the contemporary focuses more on relationship, allowing for creativity, allowing for innovations, allowing for self-managed teams, autonomous work systems. And the task prioritization is more of relationship-based and one that ensures continuity and sustainability through relationship. All right? All right, so Favor, I trust you understood that a little. And I think that little will help you in understand the concept of what we're trying to say. Okay. All right. Do I have any question? Is there anyone that would like me to explain something else? And like I said, whatever thing we are doing, please try as much as you can to visualize what I'm saying, because that will give us more understanding. You could, whatever thing we are doing now, you could compare it with your organization. What kind of organization, what kind of HR perspective do you think your organization is running? Okay, let's just do that in a moment. So which kind of perspective do you think your organization is? Which kind of perspective do you think your organization is currently practicing? If it is the contemporary, you type, no, if it is the traditional, you type 1-1. If it is the contemporary, you type 2-2. So let's see how many. Let's see how many. So 2-2, that's contemporary. Joseph Anaba, Hope Okoli, Favor is 1-1, that's traditional. Emanuela is 2-2. Can we have another one? Someone says 0-0-0-0. Okay, I know that this one must come from Austin. Okay, okay. So we have Deborah. So whether we know it or not, our organizations actually have either this system or that system. However, in practice, we have, that's what I wanted to say now. Juliet has just mentioned it. We have a hybrid system, also a hybrid perspective, where there is a blend of the 0-0 and the 1-1, okay? But in most cases, we call it the semi-system, or this, what do you call it? The semi-discretionary system, right? So you have a little of this and a little of that, okay? So we have organizations who practice the hybrid. Okay, so by now you know which one your organization is doing. Thank you so much for that. So it makes it easier. Now, importance of HRM for organizational success. There are various reasons for organizations to have HR strategy as well as business drivers that make the strategy imperative for organizations to succeed. It is a fact that to thrive in the chaotic and turbulent business environment of today, firms need to constantly innovate and be ahead of the curve in terms of business practices and strategies. It is from this motivation to be at the top of the pack that HRM becomes a valuable tool for management to ensure success. I want to ask a very simple question. In today's business world, what are the characteristics of today's business world? Having been in this whole economy together, whether you're in Nigeria, outside of Nigeria, in Africa, outside of Africa, there is something constant. The characteristics of the market is just constant. Okay? Now, what can you say are the characteristics of the present day business environment? The characteristics. Characteristics, I'm listening. If you want to use the chat room, please feel free. If you want to raise your hand, feel free. What are the peculiar characteristics in the current? Okay, so there is creativity and innovation. Okay, thank you about that. You could also talk about the characteristics of customers in present time. Okay, so there is creativity and innovation. Now, if your company is not creative and not innovative, be sure that they will soon be losing money on a daily basis. They will be losing customers. If you like have the best product, but you're not creative, you're not innovative, maybe towards marketing and all of that, you're losing. Now, someone say every business is driven by sales. Okay, I'm not talking about every business. I'm not just trying to talk about generic business. I'm talking about in current business realities. What are the peculiarities among businesses today that make the business environment so challenging? Okay, what are the peculiarities? Creativity and innovation are the major ones. And then we have focus on technology. That's also very good. Value-added product and customer satisfaction, very interesting. Constant increase in prices of services and products. Okay, thank you so much. Customers are more informed. Thank you, that's very, very important. Now, our professionalism and entrepreneurial skills, great. Value-added services and all of that. So you see, what does this whole thing make customers? What kind of customers do we have today in the present market? Okay, you know, everything we do in the business world is for the purpose of market and stakeholders. Of course, the customers are the major stakeholders, part of the major stakeholders in every business. Now, what are the characteristics of the present day kind of client? Okay, someone say they are creative and dynamic in nature. Okay. They have diverse tastes and preferences. I love that. They have diverse tastes and preferences. And they are very inquisitive. Thank you so much. It's like you're a customer service person or you're a marketing manager. They are satisfaction driven. It's all about value. If I don't have enough value as what you're asking me, I won't give you a dime. Okay. They want convenience. Thank you so much. Now, with all of this and so many more, it therefore means that we, or as organizations, we as HR practitioners, need to sit down within organizations and ask ourselves this question: what have we simply done? We've done generic customer profiling, right? That's what we've just done. And there is no business here that doesn't have this kind of customers. You have the inquisitive customers, you have the I too know customer, you have the technical customer, you have the autocratic customer, you have the customer that will want to lord it over you, you have the over-negotiating customer, you have the suppressive customer. There is also one we call the terrorist customer. In fact, every one of us here can become a terrorist customer. And somebody say, no, I don't want to be a terrorist customer. But to some extent, all of us to some point become terrorist customers. If you paid for a service and all of a sudden that service does not get you the value that was promised, and you try to get the value and they are not giving you that value, all of a sudden you might be tempted to become a terrorist customer. The first thing that may come to your mind is you go and search them on Facebook and start writing to them. They don't respond. You start commenting on their posts. Check all the banks in Nigeria. I may not know about the word, but check all the banks in Nigeria. You always see things like, people debited my account and you refuse to pay me back my money. You hear things like, the last time I came to your bank, the customer service agent that touched my app, since then they've been debiting money from my account. You hear all manner of things. Now, these people were once maybe loyal customers, inquisitive customers, good customers, but something happened. There was a sharp line of injury, of hurt, of emotional hijack that made them become terrorist customers. People don't just become terrorist customers just like that. There must have been some dissatisfaction. There must have been some denial in value offering. There must have been some denial in satisfaction that was promised. And if that happens, you will have a lot of terrorist customers. And that is why no matter how good you are as a business, if you seek for reviews, you have both the positive and the negative reviews, because our individual differences makes it almost impossible to have 100% of your customers, 100% of your employees satisfied, 100%. In individual differences, by the time we get to level 2, we take our time to talk about characterization of people and individual differences and the role they play in retainership or in retention of employees, in retention of customers, in building sustainability and continuity in business. Okay, so that's very, very important. All right. Now, once again, with all of this generic profiling we've done, it's important that when you go to your organization, whenever you people sit down and say you're doing customer profiling, you also do market profiling. Do market profiling. And market profiling should be part of the things you do in your brainstorming sessions or your strategy sessions. Ask yourself the simple question: what are the characteristics of the present day customer? And there's somebody knows something here, diverse tastes and preferences. You see, there is something customers have that makes them king, and that is called choice. But the fact that the power to choose remains in the hands of the customer will remain king. There are so many ideologies that will say, oh, customers are no longer kings. Customers are these are customers. No. I tell you the truth. And that view of customers are king is good. You treat them that way. Don't change that perspective. However, there are some points you get to find that there are some customers, though they are king, but you don't want them to be your king again. You want to change kings. So you're permitted to fire those ones. Okay, but for those ones that are loyal, for those ones that are coming in, It's good we treat them as kings because they have that choice. They have the choice to choose your product. They have the choice to recommend your product. They have the choice to talk about your product. They have the choice to be loyal to the product. They have the choice to be loyal to service and all of that. So for the fact that they stand as prospective ambassadors of your company, of your organization, of your firm, of your institute, of your body, it is good you give them the highest level of service satisfaction, product satisfaction. And the best way you get this is through having the right mix of people with the right competencies, skills, and abilities in meeting up with customer demands and customer needs. Okay, that's very, very important. Okay, that's very, very important. Now, someone is throwing a question in the chat room from Deborah and Kichi. She said, the first question is, what exactly does the customer want? So you find out from your brainstorming sessions in your organization. All right, now I also would like to say, okay, she says a statement. Now, I will also want to say that satisfaction is relative. Okay, satisfaction is what? Relative. Okay. What you do to Mr. A, you do it to Mr. B, and you give them a scale of 1 to 5 to rate your performance. Mr. A may rate you 5. Mr. B will rate you 2. And you begin to wonder what happened now. What did I do wrong? It's all about individual differences. And someone mentioned today that one of the things that have come to stay in HR field of recruitment and selection is emotional intelligence test and the AI test. Those things have become critical. So if you have higher levels or higher quotients of emotional intelligence, there is a possibility and probability that you'll have more of 5-star rating than the person that has low or medium emotional intelligence quotient. If you have high leadership quotient, then there is a possibility that you will have more ratings, better ratings than the person that has low leadership ratings. Now, there is another one they mentioned, they say is, what do you call it now? When I remember it, I will talk about it. It's still part of social intelligence. If I remember it, I'll talk about it. So all of these things help us in modeling our HR strategies. And you see that question that Nkechi asked, first question, what do customers want? You have to answer that question every day, especially if you are facing your customers every day. You have to know that you have to answer that question every day. What do customers really want? That will help you to know which operations within your organization becomes core functions. And that will also help you to know which kind of people or what kind of skills, competencies, abilities are required for people working in those core functions. All right? That's very, very important. Now, importance of HRM in summary, we have, it is important in managing business in this evolving business time. So because of the whole paradigm shift, all the things we've talked about, customers are changing behavior, customers are changing attitude, the economy is changing. Okay, someone said part of the characteristics of today's business is that everything is changing price. Okay, and there is no doubt about that. Okay, everything is changing price. All right, so because of the evolving business paradigm, there is need to involve HRM in our operations as businesses. They will also have the strategic management perspective of it, the benefit that strategic planning or strategic management brings to the HRM dimension. Strategic planning deals with strategic choices, decisions that are being made to ensure that companies have continuity and sustainability, right? And then by the time you talk about things like succession planning, you talk about strategic planning, those things are HRM functions, but however, they are strategic approaches that can be used, that can be employed to ensure business continuity and all of that. So when we talk about strategic planning or strategic management in general, covering strategic planning, strategic formulations or strategic formulations, strategic implementations and all of that, we have HRM influences or HRM activities going on within those operations. Like I said earlier, Succession planning is a strategic approach to having business continuity and sustainability. But succession planning is a HR activity. However, is a strategic management approach to achieving business continuity and sustainability. Then you also look at things like training and development. Training and development is a HR function. However, is a strategic approach to capacity development towards sustainability and continuity for businesses, right? Then you look at things like gratuity and pension management. They are strategic approaches, but what are we trying to achieve at the end of the day? They are HR functions or HR activities carried out to achieve sustainability and continuity at the end of the day. So for the sake of that integration, HRM is yet very, very important. Bringing out the best of strategic management in HRM involvement. They will have the need for adopting a holistic approach. Now, we just mentioned that there is need for managing people on the macro perspective rather than the micro perspective. So for that reason, there is need to have a contemporary HR practices in view. Now, what this means is that we manage people holistically. Okay, we manage people holistically. By the time we get to level 3, that's what we call diversity management. Diversity management. And diversity management is just a strategy to ensure that HRM is holistic. And I'll give an example of diversity management or a holistic approach in most business business setups. I found out that man has 3 primary things that he so much affiliates with or recognizes with, except this man has grown too much emotional intelligence that he can begin to relieve. You see, when it comes to politics, it's a hot topic. Whether you like it or not, politics is something that concerns everybody. You cannot run away from it. Even if you don't have a party, by the time they start talking about politics, you must defend somebody, castigate somebody, or something like that. So politics is something very, 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 very crucial topic in human race. Now, another one is tribe. Tribe has to do with maybe your country, your ethnicity, your culture, your language, and all of that. People will always want to defend their tribe, defend their language, defend their country, defend whatever. Okay, that's called affiliations. That's the power of affiliations. The third one, can someone help me with the third one? Which other one do you think? Okay, someone say politics, tribe, religion, and sports. Okay, now can someone just help me? Which one would be the third one? So someone has mentioned religion and sports. Which religion and sports, which one is hotter when it comes to areas of discussion? And then talking about diversity management now, which one we have much more influence? Is it religion or sports? Religion or sports? Which one will you pick? If someone picked religion, which one will you pick? Religion or sports? Religion or sports? I need some more instances, or I need some more responses. Which one will bring more divide? Is it religion or sports? Religion or sports? Okay, so someone said we have 2 religion. We have 3 religion. And someone is lifting her hand. So we have 5 religion. Okay, so Emanuela, your hand is up. Kindly unmute and let's hear what you have to say.
I think the major one will be religion, because religion is usually a very dicey topic. Religion also extends into politics right now. So everything basically is religious views, and there can be discriminations and all that in the workplace. When it's sports, football, people always laugh and play and end with Chelsea and Man U and all that. But when it comes to religion, the divide is usually very thick. And know, which can also pose a major problem in the office.
Okay, thank you so much, Emanuela, for that wonderful contribution. Now, both politics and tribe, the the connecting line between these two is religion. So religion is like their parent or their father, bringing them together. Okay. Now, you see, in diversity management, adopting a holistic view, we all need to put all these divides in view while managing people. Now, in most banks in Nigeria, if not all the banks, you will notice that in Nigeria, we have two major religions. We have Muslim, Islam and Christianity, right? Now, for people of Islam, they pray, they have their scheduled time of prayer. Now, in some banks and in some organizations in Nigeria, to bring in diversity, that's to bring in the holistic approach to HR management. During those time of prayer, those people involved will be given opportunity to go and pray. They will take it as their break time. They go and pray and come back. Maybe 5-10 minutes, they are done and they are back. Their expectation is met. Your expectation is met. Okay, everybody goes home satisfied. Now, in Nigeria, Christianity is, I think, Sundays. All right, so every Sunday, during that hour of church or whatsoever, Christians are also given the time to go and pray. Some organizations work on Sundays. I think you know. I've worked in an organization that we work from Monday to Sunday. In fact, even till now, we are still working Monday to Sunday. Okay, so, but having a holistic approach, right, we create better diversity management. And then in diversity management, we'll now talk about sensitivities. When we get to level 3, we'll take our time and talk about all of this. When we now talk about sensitivity, we find out that there are sensitivities that are of higher imperatives. For instance, religion. You hardly go to office to fight because of politics or sports, but you can become an ardent enemy with someone when he begins to talk against your religion or what have you. And that also depicts 4 levels of emotional intelligence. In fact, in the African context, whenever someone begins to talk against your religion, the person automatically becomes a prospective enemy. I don't know why so, but that's how it has been. Okay, and it's not supposed to be so. While it is so for human reasons, it is important that for the benefit of the business and for the fact that we are managing people in the macro perspective, we should adopt holistic approaches in people management. If you understood these 3 points, type 1-1. If you did not understand them, type 0-0. And then you tell me the area you did not understand. We'll look at it, then we go for a 10 minutes break, and then we'll be back. If there's any area you don't understand, please type 0-0, and then let's know the area so that we can proceed. Okay, so everyone is on the same page. So can we quickly go for a 10 minutes break? And then when we come back, we will continue. Okay, so someone is asking a private chat, say, how about cultural differences? Of course, cultural differences are part of the sensitivities also. So maybe when we come back, we'll discuss more about them. Okay, so let's take a 10 minutes break and then we will be back. Please take a cup of water, take a cup of tea, and then we'll be back in 10 minutes. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. I'm just charting my path in. I'm just charting my path in human resource, and basically learned a lot already. One of the things I've learned is the importance of human resource. I always knew that HR was important, but yeah, I am seeing more the importance of human resource management, even for the delivery of companies. When you were talking about the market profiling, customer profiling, you later mentioned something about the job of the HR in being able to tell the value of people we need, or the kind of people with the various skill sets that will enable the company move from where they are to where they hope to be, get studies on sales and all that. So I've learned that. And then you also mentioned something about analytics. And you kept on saying something about don't be afraid of math. Me, I hated math and I studied English because of math. You know, I ran away from things, but I'm seeing how important, no matter where you run to, you discover that math is just waiting for you somewhere. So somehow I'm believing God to open my mind towards understanding math, understanding analytics. And then you said something about human resource being important, as in being, what's that word? Important in board meetings where they're making some discussions. And it makes you understand that the analytic part of human resource helps you be a better human resource personnel, basically. And you can speak concerning people, speak concerning the staff, which would also impute in the output of the company when we know what we're doing. Basically, that's some of the things I've learned so far in just one class.
Okay. Thank you so much, Emanuela, for all of that. In just what you said, it's like you've covered the whole of HR already. Okay. So can I take two more? So someone in the chat room said he learned about sustainable relationship management. So can I have one more person? What one thing have you learned in this class? Either by giving us a voice or by, okay, so Simon Salifo, you're welcome. Please kindly omit and let's hear from you, sir.
All right, thank you very much, sir. It's been an amazing class so far. At least I've learned getting a deeper clarity in how to really measure or align individuals' interests to the employer's objective or the company's objectives in terms of balancing what the employees are expecting in terms of their allowances, benefits, so that will help them in turn give the best to the organization. So it's a win-win thing.
Okay. All right. Thank you so much, Mr. Salifu.
And also, you talked about honor. All right. Thanks.
All right. Go ahead. Go ahead. Your network was breaking, so I thought you were done.
Oh, okay. And the other part you talked about HR analytics is also one thing I've also learned recently, the HR metric analytics. So I'm already doing a research about that. I know it's where one part that is really trending, and you talked about the macro in HR, focusing more on relationship building. So it's another sweet area again that I've learned from this class. So for another thing, thank you very much.
All right. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. For having learned something in this first section, my confidence is that all of us will learn much more. And like we've said from time beginning, it's not compulsory that you get to have the certificate, but more importantly, get the knowledge first and be able to apply it. There is not every CEO or let me say startup entrepreneur that may have all the resources to go for training as this. Okay, but having this opportunity will help you. You can then employ this. With time, you can call us to come and train your staff. We'll be glad to do that, and then we'll tell you how much it will cost. But for now, let's focus on building capacity. Okay, and then subsequently other things will follow. So I want to sincerely thank you for paying attention. For this time was spent together. The response is very impressive. I love the response. Okay. So let's continue from where we stopped. So talking about the importance of HRM, we brought it to the because of the evolving business paradigm, we need to have HRM. So let me quickly run through this. It's one of the factors behind business organizations giving a whole lot of attention to their people is the nature of the firms in the current business environment. We've taken time to analyze the business environment. So there has been a steady movement towards an economy based on services. Hence, it becomes important for firms engaged in the service sector to keep their employees motivated and productive. Even in the manufacturing and the traditional sectors, the need to remain competitive has become or has meant that firms in those sectors deploy strategies that make effective use of their resources. Please, when we say resources in this case, let it be known to you that we're talking about human resources. This changed business landscape resulted due to a paradigm shift in the way businesses and firms view their employees as more than just resources and instead adopt a people-first approach. By the time we'll have the lecture, I think that's the 6th module on employee engagement. We'll talk a little about employee experience. Okay, employee experience. Now, on strategic management at HRM, moreover, there is a need to align organizational goals with the HR strategy to ensure that there's alignment of the people policies with that of the management objectives. This means that the HR department can no longer be viewed as an appendage of the firm, but instead a vital organ in ensuring organizational success. The aims of strategic management are to provide the organization with the sense of direction, which is vision and mission, and a feeling of purpose. Okay, sense of direction, vision, feeling of purpose, mission. Thus, the current HRM practices in many industries are taken as seriously as marketing and production functions. That's for high performance organizations, they take HR functions as critical as marketing and production functions. Now, for holistic approach, the practice of HRM must be applied to the overall strategic goals for the organization instead of a standalone thing that takes a unit-based or a micro approach. The idea here is to adopt a holistic perspective towards HRM that ensures that there are no piecemeal strategies and the HRM policy enmeshes it fully with those of the organizational goals. So what this is saying is that there shouldn't be bias in adopting strategies, favor one, leave another, and all of that. No, for a holistic approach, everyone involved, every stakeholder is given a fair advantage. The practice of HRM needs to be integrated with the overall strategy to ensure effective use of people and provide better returns to organizations in terms of return on investment for every rupee or dollar or naira or Ghana cedi or whichever your currency is that is being spent on them. Unless the HRM practice is designed in this way, the firms stand to lose from not utilizing people fully, and this does not bode well for the success of the organization. Now, what I've been saying here sounds like too much sentences and grammar, but we've tried to use some experiences and case studies to exemplify them. Now, quickly, what is contained in HRM? What are the things contained in HRM? What are the things contained in HRM? If we should ask, what are the content of HRM? What are the components of HRM? What will you say? What are the components of HRM? Can we have some responses in the chat room? Or if you wish to give us a voice, you raise your hand. What are the components of HRM? Components of HRM. The scope, the things that make up HRM, the core functions of HRM. Can someone help? So someone says training and development, thank you. Another person says recruitment, recruitment and talent management, thank you. Can we have another one? Performance management, thank you. Can we have another one? Welfare and well-being management, thank you. Recruitment, training, motivation, staffing, discipline, functions, and so on. Employee engagement, settling grievances, payroll, HR data, and analytics. Okay, and analysis. Okay, thank you. Recruitment, and so several others are coming. Every area of human engagement is involved in the organization. Okay, thank you so much. So, HR management, the scope of HR management is not really limiting, but most often we find things like this more often in the organization. You have training and development, you have industrial relations, grievance handling, hiring, where we have recruitment and selection, you have HR planning, you have rewards and recognition, legal procedures, payroll management, discipline. Okay, we've already talked of grievance handling. Then you look at things like HR analytics, You look things at decision making, and several others. Coaching, okay, we can consider coaching and to be under training and development. So there are several others. So we are not limiting HR to only this, okay? But these are some of the major components: training and development, grievance handling, HR planning, rewards and recognitions, legal procedures, payroll management, hiring, industrial relations, HR analytics, employee engagement, health, safety, and environment, and all of that. Okay. So therefore, HRM is about developing and managing harmonious relationships at workplace and striking a balance between organizational goals and individual goals. We keep mentioning this over and over again. Now, to now summarize all of this scope or all of these components in their place, we have 3 domains that we look at: HRM in personnel management, or we could simply say HRM in administration. Then we have HRM in employee welfare, and then we have HRM in industrial relations, where we'll talk about labor unions, cooperatives, and all of that, right? So what does HRM in personnel talk about? It's typically direct manpower management that involves manpower planning, hiring, training and development, induction and orientation, transfer, promotion, employee productivity, compensation, layoff, and retrenchment. This is basically what the administrative part of HRM deals with, okay? The overall objective here is to ascertain individual growth, development, and effectiveness, which indirectly contribute to organizational development. Now, whether we like it or not, personnel said this indirectly, but we know that in HR management, people development has direct relationship with organizational development. Okay, there is a theory we call the resource-based view theory, which states that the capacity of the organization or the performance of an organization is a function of the collective performances of the people within the organization. So that's a direct relationship. That's a direct contribution from people growth, individual growth and development to corporate growth and development. So your personal development, what you're doing here right now, has a whole lot of role to play in helping your organization move forward. Okay. Some time ago, I think last year or last 2 years, we had a training, one of the trainings, emotional intelligence workshop or emotional intelligence professional. One of the ladies that attended, or one of the participants that attended, I happened to be a lady, was a bank manager. And then last year, she was telling us of how the whole learning of emotional intelligence had helped her in getting better in her workplace. And then she said something in her testimonial. She said, in fact, still within the process of the course, she started applying some of the things she learned, because emotional intelligence is a 12-week course. She was applying some of the things she was learning. She said there was a day that there was a particular situation in the office, and natively, they knew her to be someone who could have responded in a radical way. But rather, she provided a solution that made their MD like, wow, what's happening here? Okay. And after everybody had gone, the MD called her and gave her 10,000 naira to go and buy food, that she was able to manage the situation. I said at that point, she now told the MD that she was taking a course in emotional intelligence. At the end of the day, to cut the long story short, the company had to send some of their staff to take that same course. Okay, so there is a direct relationship between your personal development and corporate development. Very, very important. There is a direct relationship between the two. All right, very, very important. And this direct relationship has, apart from the fact that it has a direct relationship on the value provided to the organization, it also has a relationship to the value that the organization returns back to you. That's why we now talk about promotions. We talk about increase in salaries and all of that. What really prompts increase in salary in a traditional sense in a performance-based sense is your value, the performance you're bringing in is what determines whether there's going to be an increase in salary, whether there's going to be a promotion or what have you. All right, the same thing determines if you go down or you go up. So there is a direct relationship between your personal development versus corporate development. Okay. It also includes performance appraisals, like I just said, developing new skills, disbursement of wages, incentives, allowances, traveling policies, prostitutes, and other related courses of action. This one is men will have HR running the administrative functions within the organization. Now let's check for the other side. Remember, the HR is doing two things. It's serving as an intermediary, as a mediator, so as to satisfy management objectives and the people's objective, that's the employees' objective. So to satisfy management objectives, he conducts the personnel management side of HR, that's the administrative side of HR, to ensure that the objective of the organization are met through people, the right people, right? Now, we also have the HR function in the side of employee welfare, where we now talk about motivations, incentives, trainings and development. We now talk about pay packages, compensation and benefits, right? So HRM in welfare, employee welfare, is a particular aspect of HRM which deals with working conditions and amenities at the workplace. This includes a wide array of responsibilities and services such as safety services, health services, welfare funds, social security, and medical services. It also covers appointment of safety officers, making the environment worth working, eliminating workplace hazards, support by top management, job safety, safeguarding machineries, cleanliness, proper ventilation and lighting, medical care, sickness benefits, employee injury benefits, personal injury benefits, maternity benefits, employment benefits, and family benefits, and so many other benefits that organizations have out there. Okay, so this is what the HR is expected to do and much more when we come to employee welfare. It also relates to supervision, employee counseling, establishing harmonious relationship with employees, education and training. Employee welfare is about determining employees' real needs and fulfilling them with active participation of both management and employees. In addition to this, it also takes care of canteen facilities, crèches, rest and lunch rooms, housing, transport, medical assistance, education, health and safety, recreation facilities, and so on. So these are what we expect to see for HRM in the aspect of welfare, employee welfare. Now, the last one is industry relation. Now, one thing with industry relation is industry relation try to make sure that the benefit, that there is a maximum benefit, or there are maximum benefits for the employer and for the employee. So you hear things like the organization is our member. And then for the fact that your organization is a member, the staff also need to be member. Okay, so that is industry relations. Okay, trying to make sure that both the employer and the employee have good benefits. So HRM and industrial relations is a highly sensitive area. It needs careful interactions with labor or employee unions, addressing their grievances and settling the disputes effectively in order to maintain peace and harmony in the organization, right? If you have an organization that you people have labor unions and all of that, we encourage you to be part of your labor unions. If you're a lecturer, join ASU or COASU, or whichever one that your organization is, just join them. If you're a banker, there are ones that they have for the bankers. If you are, whichever one you are, there are ones that that joins you. If you're a HR practitioner in Nigeria, I will recommend you join CIPM. Okay, if you're a HR practitioner in Nigeria, then you join CIPM. Okay, these are part of, apart from the fact that they are regulatory body, they also play the role of labor union. So where there is grievances in your organization, you could report to CIPM, and then CIPM can take it off from there. If they wish, they can take it to industrial court or any other form of way of getting benefits for you. Okay. All right. Another vital part of HR planning process is succession planning. Succession planning refers to the way in which a company forms policies for replacing key members of its organization, shifting transfer of authority and responsibility carefully from a living member to a new member. This often entails ensuring that an arriving employee has the necessary training and experience to fulfill their functions. Should I quickly say that whenever you have the opportunity to take a training, you are actually expanding your opportunities. Whenever you have the opportunity to take a training, whether it's a paid training or it's a free training, you are expanding your opportunities. Okay. Now, someone was saying something. He said our free training is like a marketing strategy. And we told him, we said, okay, don't pay for anything. We don't need you thinking that way. By 31st of May, we have a totally free training that we organize for civil servants. So if you're in Abuja, you can join us. It's a training for directors, deputy directors, and assistant directors. Okay, it's a completely free training. When I mean completely free, there is we pay for everything. In fact, the fee you even pay us here help us to do that. So you're also helping us in achieving our corporate responsibilities. We are managing the relationship we have with you so that we can achieve the objective of the other objective we have with other stakeholders. Now we have an interest in Africa, in building capacities for Africa. Last year, December, we had a training, an induction and the executive development workshop where we had 14 countries in attendance, and we had about 14 countries attendance with online, and then we had about 4 countries physically in attendance. We had Ghana, we had Benin Republic, we had Nigeria, and we had Canada. That were all available in Nigeria. Okay, they were all available in Nigeria. Okay, although that was a paid training, but we have a very high interest in Africa. Every year we run a series of trainings for African leaders, for African entrepreneurs, African career persons, just for the purpose of building capacities for them. Some of them are done 100% free, no cost attached to it. But for certifications, there must be a cost. So the only thing we can do is to reduce the cost anyway. But if you come for some of our leadership development workshop, we do that for free. By August, we'll be having the Africa Leadership and Entrepreneurship Summit, a 3-day workshop online. And you join, it's 100% free. From training to certification, you get it for free. Okay, so these things we do is part of our crave to build sustainable human capital in Africa. Okay, that's part of our crave. Okay, we've had people who got our trainings. After the trainings, they left Nigeria. Okay, yeah, they left Nigeria. We write recommendations basically every now and then. Someone is going to so place. Someone is a so embassy. Someone is a so country. So they are writing to verify certification, whether it was really issued by us or not. We do so. And some of those people there, they attended some of our free programs, some attended paid programs. For more, our core interest is to have capacities developed. Certificate is just a proof of developed capacity. But if you have capacities developed, it will have more value on the economy. Certificates on themselves doesn't have value on the economy. What has value on the economy is developed capacities. They are there applying what they've learned, the economy. That's what makes the difference. Okay. All right. Sorry for that deviation. But if you're in Abuja, even if you're outside of Abuja, you're a director, you're a public servant director, you're a public servant director, you're a public servant deputy director, public servant assistant director. Please feel free to join us. May 31st is a Tuesday at Grand Cubana Hotel, Jabi, Abuja. The date will not change. because we have no intention of changing the date. The letters already dispatched and nominations are already being done. So we are gathering about 100 civil servants, okay? And part of what we're going to be teaching them here is part of HR, executive leadership development, okay? That's very, very important. And then, should I say, if you have interest in sponsoring the program, why not? We welcome you, come and join us and do it together. Okay, if you have interest, maybe you have your company and you want your company to come and join as part of your CSR also to the federal government, why not you come and join us? Okay, you come and help us manage the bills. Okay, all right, quickly, let's deal with processes in human resource management. But before we deal with the processes, do I have any question with the 3 levels or the 3 domains in the scope of human resource management: the personnel, the employee welfare, and industrial relations? Do I have any question? If you have any question, you could do that by asking, raising your hand and asking, or you do that in the chat room. Any question for me, please? We are gradually rounding up this class. And for the sake that this is your first class, and for the sake of our first timers, we might only take just 1 class today, and then we'll take 1 class tomorrow, and then subsequently we can adjust. Okay. Any question for me? Please, if I can proceed, kindly type 1 in the chat room. If you have question for me, type 00 and then let me have the question. I'm seeing Avemash Cyprian Yenko. The people that we are supposed to go and collect light from so that we throw it to the house. Engineer Yenko, you're welcome. Okay, so you gave me permission to continue. Thank you so much. Okay, so there's a question here. So let's see the attempt we'll make. Which of the following is not a scope of HRM? Which of the following is not a scope of HRM? So training and development, payroll management, grievance handling, quality management. So someone say quality management, QM. Edgar, I'm just seeing you for the first time today. Are you just joining the class? Edgar, I'm just seeing you for the first time today. Are you just joining the class? So let's find the answer. Okay. So you've been here and you've been quiet. So the answer is quality management is not part of the scope of HR. So quickly, let's look at the processes. Please, I would like to reiterate that we are creating an overview of HRM here. By the time we get to the workshop sessions of each of the modules, we will take out the time to do the practice the best way we can. Now, some of the practice will be done concurrently as the class is going on. Some will be done as a take-home assignment in groups, right? With presentations to prove that you did the assignment. Processes in human resource management. Let me just go. So we have human resource planning to include recruitment, selection, hiring, training, induction, orientation, evaluation, promotion, and layoff. Then we have employee remuneration and benefits administration. Then we have performance management, and then we have employee relations. So let's take a look at each of them. For human resource planning, gathering all of these things under it is generally considered as a process of people forecasting. This is right, but does not completely define what human resource planning encompasses. It also involves the process of evaluation, promotion, and layoff. Now, let's now bring back that HR analytics. Without HR analytics, it would be difficult to have an effective HR plan. Without a good HR analytics, it will be difficult to make an effective HR plan. If we do HR planning without having good analytics in place, what we've done is that we just did HR planning by assumption. Okay. Now, someone was asked me in a class. She said, "So what if in a situation the organization is starting new and doesn't even have any data about human resources? How are they going to analyze and come up with visualized data or have information that will help them in making decisions towards HR planning?" I told the person, I said, there are different avenues for sourcing data. We have emerging industry trends. You have labor unions. You have Bureau of Statistics. You can also do what we call analogous information, analogous data. What do we mean by analogous data? You can get information from competitors, organizations that are similar to yours. In fact, that will even give you a better information to analyze. And then there is also a possibility that you can buy data online. Sorry. Christopher Ono, I think you're just coming in. I've never mentioned 8 days gone. I don't know what you mean by 8 days gone. We're just starting up the class. Okay. All right. So we need HR analytics to be able to make proper forecasting. But meanwhile, let me even ask as a digression, what's the difference between analysis and analytics? Please don't Google, just tell me what you think. What's the difference between analysis and analytics? What's the difference between analysis and analytics or analytics? So please, you can give us a voice. Don't try to ask Google, just go ahead and tell us what you think. What do you think is the difference between analysis and analytics, or are they the same? Okay, someone say analysis is the sum total of a process, while analytics are the tools used for processes. All right, thank you so much. Debbie and no also, thank you. Do I have any other person who will want to throw in a light? Just one more person. Hope I'm not speaking to myself. I hope I'm not just speaking to Debbie only. Okay, can I have one more person? What's the difference between analytics and analysis? Or are they the same? Debbie said analysis is the sum total of a process, while analytic deals with the tools used for the process. Okay. Okay, so Emanuela, you are the person of the day. You soon win an award of the student of the day. Where is she now? Did she go somewhere? Emanuela, your hand was up, so go ahead.
Okay. Sorry.
Okay, sorry, your network is breaking. I can't hear you.
Than to type, that's why. So from my own understanding, for you to have the analysis, hello?
Yeah, go ahead. Go ahead. I think it's better. Uh-oh. So I need one more person to help us. I think our network was a little bit breaking. What's the difference between analytics and analysis, or are they just the same? Analytics and okay, so I have Christopher, or no, please, Christopher, kindly unmute and go ahead. Christopher, can you hear me? Okay, please kindly unmute. I think I unmuted you again. Go ahead, please.
Are you hearing me, sir?
Yes, go ahead, sir.
Analysis is the detailed examination of an element or structure of something.
Okay. Yes, we are hearing you. Go ahead. Go ahead.
Then analytics is the systematic computational analysis of data or statistics.
Okay.
Are
Yes.
you?
Yes, we are with you. Let's move.
Hello, sir.
Yes, we are with you. We can hear you loud and clear.
Are you hearing me?
We can hear you loud and clear.
Network.
Uh-oh.
Okay. Let me come again. Analysis is a detailed examination of an element or structure of something. While analytic is talking about systematic computational analysis of data or statistics.
Okay. Thank you so much. That sounds like a lecturer, but a PhD holder. Okay. So Emanuela, you're back again. So let's hear from you. Just one more.
Okay. So from my layman understanding, analysis will be basically analyzing processes, basically something that has happened in the past. So this analysis to end up being basically. Did you hear me?
Yes, I heard that. So basic analysis is analyzing what has happened previously, but I didn't get analytics. All right. So let's everything we've said, they are all correct. Okay. So let me, from the first person, Debbie, she said analysis is the sum total of a process, while analytic, the tools that deals with the process. From Omolara, analytics is the collection of authentic data, while analysis is the process of a particular query. Okay, I'm missing some. Okay, from Emmanuel, I said analysis, I think, has to do with analyzing previous processes or events or things. Okay. From Edgar, she said analysis is a detailed analysis. Okay. Analysis is a detailed analysis of something or information, while analytics is information resulting from analysis of data. I love that. Okay, so from the summary of all we've said is that before we could do analysis, there is something in place that we could use to run information preview or checking. Analysis most often has to do with breaking down the whole system and trying to spot out what we really want to spot out. Okay, the analysis, the word analysis on its own simply means breaking down to find a solution, to find a particular problem that requires a solution. That's analysis, right? But analytics has to do with processing data for the purpose of decision making. Processing data for the purpose of decision making. So in the world of statistics, analysis is a part of analytics. However, in most cases, we stop at analysis and we don't move it up to the analytics. That means the information we've gotten, the breakdown of different sources of information we've gathered, we were unable to get them processed in such a way that we can use them in decision making. As soon as we're able to move process information to being able to use them to make decisions like forecasting, we are no longer talking about analysis, we are now talking about analytics. So why analytics has to do with futuristic, analysis has to do with previous or subsequent event that has been done. Okay. Okay, so I think you understand that. Please, if you understood that clearly, and if it is good enough as for to a layman to understand, please type 11. If it is not that understandable, or you did not understand it correctly or absolutely, please, you can type 00. Let me explain again. If you understood it absolutely, type 11. If you did not understand it absolutely, you can type 00. Okay. Now let me ask a question. Which one is easier to do, analysis or analytics? As a HR, which one do you think is easier to do, analysis or analytics? Which one do you think is easier to do, analysis or analytics? Okay, so I'm saying here that analysis is easier. And that is just the simple truth. Analysis is easier than analytics because, or will I say analytics is the application of analysis in real life situations. So the most critical thing that makes analytics somewhat maybe a more compounding thing is understanding the information that analysis has provided to you and being able to use it. Okay, for instance, in Nigeria, we say we have 80% unemployment. That's a data, all right? Now, analytics now asks the question, how can we use this 80% to better the economy? If this is not what we want, how can we use this 80? So analytics put us to practical work. Okay, analysis helps us in planning, getting information that will be used in planning. Analytics puts us in planning. Analysis helps us with information we can use in forecasting, but analytics helps us to forecast. Okay. All right, so let's proceed. I trust we've understood that a little. So if you did not understand, let me recap again. Analysis is having to process previous information or data to an information which might not have any prominent use at that point. But for analytics, analytics is the use of processed information, processed data for the purpose of decision-making. So decision-making in product development, decision-making in human resource planning, decision-making in marketing, decision-making in training, decision-making in performance appraisal, decision-making in promotions and all of that. So analytics leaves us with decisions to make, actions to take. Okay, but analysis provides us with trying to find out what the challenge could have been. Okay, so maybe we'll say, what is the mean, median, and mode of attrition in this organization? We can actually calculate that. But analytics now takes it off from there and try to find the impact of those mean, median, and mode of the attritions that will be happening, mean, median, and mode of salary effect, mean, median, and mode of training effect, mean, median, and mode. So analysis provides us with data that we can use to make and to take into action when we come to analytics. Okay, all right. Whew. Too much grammar. Okay, so let's back to what brought us here. Human resource planning is generally considered as a process of people forecasting. I think it's that forecasting that brought us back to analytics. So this is right, but does not completely define what human resource planning encompasses. It also involves the process of evaluation, promotion, and layoff. Human resource planning involves the following functions: recruitment, it aims at attracting applicants that match a certain job criteria. Selection, the next level of filtration. This aims at shortlisting candidates who are the closest match in terms of qualifications, expertise, and potential for certain job. Hiring, this involves deciding upon the final candidate who gets the job. Training and development, these are processes These processes work on and onboard employee for upgradation of his skills and abilities. Now, the second thing there is employee remuneration and benefits. As simple as it is, it has to do with the processes involved in deciding upon salaries, wages, incentives, fringe benefits, and perquisites. This process is very important because money is the prime motivator in any job. Performing employees seek raises, better salaries, and bonuses. The third one is performance management. In organizations, both private and public, one of the most favorite words that we hear there is performance, 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 personal performance, corporate performance. And it is your personal performance that determines corporate performance. It is the general corporate performance that determines your promotion and take home. So there is a whole lot of interlinks, interrelationship among all these processes. So performance management helps the organization to train, motivate, and reward workers. It is also meant to ensure that the organizational goals are met with efficiency. The process can be conducted for not only the employees, but can also be conducted for a department, product, service, or customer process, all towards enhancing or adding value to them. Nowadays, there is an automated performance management system that gathers and provides all the information to help managers evaluate the performance of the employees and assess them accordingly on their training and development needs. The next one is employee relations, which has to do with labor law and relations, working environment, employee health and safety, employee conflict management, employer conflict management, quality of work life, workers' compensation, employee wellness and assistance programs, counseling for occupational stress. All these are critical to employee retention, apart from the money or remuneration, which is only a hygiene factor. Employee retention is a nuisance in the organization, especially in industries that are hugely competitive in nature. So attrition is high, people leave, human resource flow in and out in industries that are highly competitive is high. Though there are myriad factors that motivate an individual to stick or leave an organization, but few such as stated above are certainly under our control. Now, a very simple question: which of the following is an aspect of HRM which deals with working conditions and amenities at the workplace? A, B, C, D. Please, let's have your remark. Which of the following is an aspect of HRM which deals with working conditions and amenities at the workplace? A, B, C, or D. So Donny said B. Let's see which other answer. Victor said B. Which other answer? Kate said B, Omolora said B. So let's find out. Okay, so Debbie said D. All right, so let's find the answer. So the correct answer is employee welfare. All right. So I'm going to stop this class today at the skills of HR. Then tomorrow, we continue from where we stop. Other lecturers, we continue from where I stop. The skills of human resource professional. Skills of human resource professional. Skills of human resource professionals. Oh, this is 1 o'clock Nigerian time. Right? I have to find out. Let's see. So what do you think are the skills of a HR? In recent time, in contemporary times, what do you think would be the propelling skills of a HR? What are the most propelling skills of a HR? Skills of HR. Okay, so Loretta said problem solving. Thank you, Loretta. Can we get what? Leadership. Thank you. Empathy. Good communication, negotiation, and leadership. Interrelational skill. Thank you. Okay, so let's see what we have here. So I have the HR skills, I have the decision-making skills, I have the technical skills, I have the leadership skills. So we just broke them down. So let's see what each of them has to say. For the HR skills, HR managers are required to know how people play a role in organizations, an advantage against the competition, as well as policies, programs, and so on. Today's HR professional must be skilled at, so for HR skills, we require communication, negotiation, team development. Now, it's not just stopping here. Communication is actually broad, because by the time we start talking about communication, we talk about interrelationship or interpersonal skills. We talk about emotional intelligence skills. We talk about reporting, meeting skills, briefing skills, and so many others. And then when we talk about negotiation, it doesn't just stop at that also. You also need emotional intelligence skills. You also need persuasive skills, influence skills, okay? And then you have team development. Then for the decision-making skills, HR managers should take a variety of decisions that affect whether employees are qualified and motivated, and whether the organization is operating efficiently and complying with the law. So this requires knowledge of organization's line of business. So the person should have business skills, and decisions must take into account social and ethical dimension or ethical implication of the alternative. So the person have business skills, emotional intelligence skills, social intelligence skills, and also leadership skills. Importantly, the business skills covering generically marketing skills, organizational skills, economic skills, political skills, and all of that. All of them should come to play in decision making. Then we have the technical skills. The technical skills are the specialized skills. In HRM, professionals need knowledge of state-of-the-art practices such as areas of staffing, development, reward, organizational design, and so on. Now, some of the technical skills we've been talking about now are things like the HR analytics. And one thing with HR analytics is that it covers every aspect of HR. There is no aspect of HR that does not involve data. Okay, it covers every aspect of HR. Then we have also some software and applications we use. We have the Orange HRM. By the time we get to associate level, we'll be introducing some of these software, some of these applications. You also have Excel. As simple as Excel is, Excel is not really simple. Excel is a complex software in any way. But we have Excel. We have what do you call this one? We have Excel. We have Microsoft Access. Now we have other software like the Power BI. You have Tableau. You have Zoho Analytics, and several others. We can pay attention by building our technical skills in these areas, adding more value to our competencies by building our skills in these areas. All right. Then we have the leadership skills. The leadership skills, ability to set vision, ability to set mission, ability to manage changes, ability to forecast, and all of that. All of this lies around leadership skills, setting direction for people to follow. Okay, very, very important. Now, imagine trends in HR as we begin to round up. Imagine HRM functions These are the things you hear people say most often. You hear things like, I'm a HR business partner, I'm a strategic HR partner, I'm a generalist, I'm a HR advocate, employee advocate, and all of that. What does this mean? Okay, so we have, for business and strategic HR partner, HR managers contribute to the development of organizations, realization of business plans, and achievement of objectives. Please, it is important that we note here that all HR objectives must be aligned with business objectives, and that's where strategic management also comes to play. So the role of the strategic or business strategic partner is to help the business ensure that their strategic objectives as a business aligns with the HR objectives. Okay, then we have the employee advocate, just as the name is. HR managers have to serve as advocates of employees. It means that they have to create a work environment in which employees are motivated, contributing, and happy. They will also have the change champion. HR managers have to be change agents, thus requiring them to acquire knowledge about and the ability to execute successful change strategies in the organization. Do I have any HR person here? If you're a HR, you work in the HR department, or you are an independent HR practitioner, can I see your, just type 55 in the chat room. You're currently HR practitioner, or you're in the HR department. Can I see 55 in the chat room? Okay, so I see Lorita. I see Doyin. Any other person? Okay, so for us in HR, we have the role of initiating and implementing changes within organizations. And for you to be able to initiate and drive change, it simply means you have strong leadership and emotional intelligence skills. Okay. But in this course, we'll also learn about change management and how to drive change within the organization. We also have workable templates we can use to initiate changes and drive changes within the organization. All right. Now, a tip that we need to put in place is that internal scans are used to identify key movements and patterns within organizations which may affect HR operations. External scans look at outside factors such as economic conditions and the need for certain skills which affect employment. Now, difference between HRM and personnel management. Quickly, it's a personnel management is essentially workforce-centered, whereas human resource management is resource. Please, that resource, we can change it to people-centered. All right. So let us look at the difference between these two. Traditionally, for personnel management, the term personnel management was used to refer to the set of activities concerning the workforce, which included staffing, payroll, contractual obligations, and other administrative tasks. In this respect, personnel management encompasses the range of activities that are to do with managing the workforce rather than the human resources. All right. Personnel management is more administrative in nature. The personnel manager's main job is to ensure that the needs of workforce as they pertain to their immediate concerns are taken care of with respect to what the job is saying. Further, personnel managers typically play the role of mediators between the management and the employees, and hence was always the feeling that personnel management was not in tune with the objective of the manager. Human resource management, with the advent of resource-centric organizations in recent decades, it has become imperative to put people first, as well as secure management objective of maximizing their return on investment on the resources. This has led to the development of modern HRM functions, which is primarily concerned with ensuring the fulfillment of management objectives and at the same time ensuring that the needs of the resources are taken care of. In this way, human resource management differs from personnel management not only in its broader scope, but also in the way in which its mission is defined. So while personnel management is much more focusing on meeting the need of the workforce, as well as to achieve corporate objectives. Human resource is much more focusing on the people with the purpose of ensuring that there is fulfillment in objective expectation from both management and the employees or the people. All right. Now, human resource management goes beyond the administrative task of personnel management and encompasses a broad vision of how management would like the resources to contribute to the success of the organization. Okay, so I think I'm exceeding my boundaries. Let me be sure I'm not exceeding my boundaries. Okay, so introduction to HRM practices. Okay, this is just it. Introduction to HRM practices. We've looked at HRM components or the scope. We've looked at HRM skills. Now we'll look at the practices. What are the common practices we have in HRM? We have the job analysis, we have the job description, we have the job specification, we have the job design. Job analysis is a systematic exploration, study, and recording the responsibilities, duties, skills, accountabilities, work environment, and ability requirements of a specific job. It also involves determining the relative importance of the duties, responsibilities, physical and emotional skills for a given job. All these factors identify what a job demands and what an employee must possess to perform a job productively. Now, by the time we get to job analysis, because we have a module dedicated to job design and analysis, we'll be able to design jobs. In fact, first of all, we'll be able to design organizations, and then we'll be able to design the jobs in the organization. And in designing the jobs, we will need to design the job description, the job specification also. Okay, and then we'll design the offer letters, design the contract terms and conditions for work being done. All right. Job description includes basic job-related data that is useful to advertise a specific job and attract a pool of talent. It includes information such as job title, job location, reporting to and of employees, job summary, nature and objectives of a job, tasks and duties to be performed, working conditions, machines, tools, and equipment to be used by prospective worker and hazards involved in it. Job specification has to do with writing statements of educational qualifications, specific qualities, level of experience, physical, emotional, technical, and communication skills required to perform a job, responsibilities involved in a job, and other unusual sensory demands. It also includes general health, mental health, intelligence, aptitude, memory, judgment, leadership skills, emotional ability, adaptability, flexibility, values and ethics, manners, and creativity. This job specification in some places is called employee specification. In some other places is called person specification. Okay. In some places it's called person specification. Some other time they call it role specification. Okay. Now, job design follows job analysis, and it is the next step after job analysis. It aims at outlining and organizing tasks, duties, and responsibilities into a single unit of work for the achievement of a certain objective. It also outlines the methods and relationships that are essential for the success of a certain job. In simpler terms, it refers to the what, how much, how many, and the order of tasks for a job or jobs. They will have training and development, which is a planned effort to facilitate the learning of job-related skills, knowledge, and behavior by employees. Development is the acquisition of knowledge, skills, and behaviors that improve an employee's ability to meet changes in job requirements. While training is done essentially to facilitate learning, development is done for acquisition of knowledge, skills, and behaviors. Now, the following considerations need to be taken into account when an HR professional tries to assess the training and development needs of employees of an organization. You have the spontaneous, unplanned training or systematic planned training. So you could do training in spontaneous, unplanned, like some of us just bounced into this training. Someone said this morning, she just saw the link and entered. Perhaps that was just our first time. So there was no planning to it. So that's spontaneous on the plan. At the other time, some people have received the information about this training since January. Okay, and they've had all the time to plan for it. Then the other one is you could train few employees or train all employees dependent on the needs analysis. By the time we get to training as a course on this, we'll talk about needs analysis. You can decide to train a department, you can decide to train all departments, but there must be a need before we start training. Why training in most organizations is ineffective or does not produce solution is that we just take training as part of the job functions, but it's not so. Training is meant to address business needs, corporate needs. So before any training should take place, there must have been training needs analysis that will give us the learning gaps that need to be filled. And then that will tell us whether the training needs to be for all or for a few selected individuals. Now, another thing is the training, will it be on focused current job skills or future job skills? I think for any training we are doing now, it should help us in managing both the present and the future. Then we have the individual orientation or group orientation. The training, will it cover individual attitudinal orientational change or group attitudinal orientation change?